Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smart Trucking Live. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome, I Heart Cryptoverse. Hey, thank you for joining us, sir. Kelly Patterson. Good afternoon, Kelly. How are you doing? Josh Peterbilt, 389. Good to have you here, man. JP Goodry, what's up? You're looking at it, JP. How are you doing? Joanne Roots. Now that's just got to be a Dutch name. Howdy, Joe. How's it going? Keltarusu Travels. Glad to join. Glad to have you here. Appreciate you joining us. We're just having a Q&A here today. We'll wait for a few more people to join us, but there's Joe. Hello, Joe. How are you doing? Joe S. JP. Glad to see you guys here. Shannon. There's Shannon. Colder in Oklahoma than there in Wyoming. Go figure, eh, Shannon? Hey, Shannon, I think I thanked you for sending that video the other week, but let me make sure that I did. Thank you again. Lily Bean out here in Texas now running Amazon loads. Lily, I hope that's going well for you. Good paying money for teams. Good to know. Yes. And Roger Penske, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for the video that you sent us of the Triple T truck stop. It brings back memories. That was quite the place in its day, and I would only run through that way usually in the wintertime, because the guy I worked for had me loading lettuce out of Yuma and the Gallus in the wintertime. So I'd be there January, February, March, but man, that was a happening truck stop at the time. So nice to see it on video again. Thank you. You brought back some memories for me. Thunderstorm 87. I'm at the Flying J in San Antonio. They ran out of fuel, both diesel and gas. They've got no running water. There's no coffee, no hot food, no showers, no bathrooms, and no Denny's. Now, I know Texas has got like rolling blackout problems because of this bad storm that's passing through there, and maybe that's why. I'm guessing that's why that the Flying J in San Antonio seems to be shut down. But that's nothing pleasant to be experiencing. Bad weather this week. It's dirty cold weather too. Everybody needs to be careful out there. Who was it there? Doc Dewey got caught in the cold out in Wyoming, and the truck broke down. And I've been there with you, Doc. I know it can be tough. You can damn near freeze to death. So my sympathy went out to you. SoCal Sandman, how the heck are you doing? I'm glad to see you here. Kathy says you're in some pain. I can well believe that. I hope, for the most part though, you're on the road to recovery. And have I ever seen white line fever? Certainly have. Yes, I have. Jan Michael Vincent, he's no longer with us.
Was that not the Triple T in that movie?
Geez, it could have been. It could well have been. I'll have to watch it again and pay attention to that, but I don't know. Good question. Hello from Libya. We're reaching out there. Nick, hello from Illinois. Travis says it's snowing. Yeah, it's snowing all over the place. Hello from Eastern Africa. Man, it's amazing the reach. Never get over it. Ed Powers, hello, Dave. And Edward Atarian, hello, you guys. Thanks for joining us. Glad you could be here with us. So we'll get into some questions here.
More volume?
Need more volume? Okay. See if that's a little better. Let me know. Oh, and Jonathan Mestral, I haven't seen him yet here, but he sent us the coolest video of this little kid driving. And man, can that kid drive? It's something to see. Travis, hello from Dallas. Bet you it's cold there too. And there's Fred Besmer. Glad to see you here, Fred. Oh, from sunny Yuma, Arizona. That's it, Fred. Just rub it in for me. I used to spend a lot of time in Yuma when I was hauling for Gambles. Really liked it down there. Liked Arizona. Greetings from Amherstburg, Ontario. I've been there. So what do you got for questions here today? What about the new Peterbilt in Kenworth? I saw pictures of the new Pete last week or the week or so, and now I see they've revised the 680 as well, the Kenworth. And I don't know if you saw how they did it. I watched the filming, and basically they basically sucked it forward and down to lower the profile of the truck, and it improved the fuel mileage like 6 or 7%, which is amazing. But out of the two of them, I got to say I kind of like the 680 a little better, but I'm sure they'll both be money makers. So nice to see them coming out with drop nose trucks that are stylish, that are good looking. That's what I like to see. What else have I got going on that I wanted to mention?
Could you talk about what makes a good dispatcher from a trucker's perspective?
Mike Jones, what makes a good dispatcher? Someone that you can trust, someone that won't shoot you the breeze, someone that just levels with you. And there are all sorts of dispatchers, but there are some guys that just treat you so well that you want to work for them. You want to produce. You want to help them achieve what needs to be done. And I like guys that just level with you. Tell you the truth. Tell you the way it is. Don't string you some line. Oh, it's got to go. It's got to go. Say, we screwed up at this end. We missed the appointment or something like that. Can you just do your best? And you have no problem working with guys like that. So, honest guys that level with you make the best dispatchers, I find. And I've been lucky enough in my career to have a few of those. But a good dispatcher can make it or break it for a guy in a truck. It really can. They're so important to have a good one. Hello, Ryan from Minnesota. Is it cold there, Ryan? Fred Bessemer says loves the Freightliner of Kevin Carty's. That's the red one right here in the foreground. We saw that at Clifford, but yeah, that's a nice truck. I actually like that one better than the conventional that you usually see him in, but I like that truck.
Kelly Patterson at GP Transco says his dispatcher Eve is like that.
Kelly Patterson said Eve at GP Transco is like that. Yeah, you couldn't ask for more. Someone that's just honest with you and levels with you, and that's the ideal dispatcher. And guys want to work for dispatchers like that. They want to accomplish what the dispatcher needs done. It's a mutual pride thing. You want to help the carrier wants to help you. It's best when it works out that way. It's interesting too that now I never had a female dispatcher ever at any place I worked, but it's interesting too how many comments I get from guys on a lot of the dispatchers that they like are women, which is interesting. And you wonder if, the women have a little more patience or whatever it takes. But I find that's interesting. And you don't have to be a truck driver to be a good dispatcher. I'm sure it helps, but it's not an absolute necessity. And one of the best ones I ever had never drove a truck in his life.
Never obey. Someone needs to make trucking great again or sometime.
Yeah, trucking, that's part of our goal here. I think trucking does need to be great again. And certainly it can be, and it has been a great industry. It's just there are so many clowns in the mix these days. You've got to be able to separate the clowns from the people, and that's becoming an ever increasing struggle in the trucking industry, but it's, the good things about the trucking industry are still there. They're just getting harder to find, and the water's getting muddier and muddier, but there's still really good people in this industry to work for and with. It's interesting to note, and trucking has its ebbs and its flows, and the FMCSA is reporting that over 3,000 small carriers failed last year, went under. And a lot of this will be because of the COVID thing. But in the meantime, because of that, owner-operators that were with these small carriers, over 1,000 of them now are applying for their own authority. And that's, they're not going to go down with the carrier. They're not going to go to another carrier. They're going to go and strike out on their own. And I like to see that. And the best money is always with your own authority. And to get good customers. That's the trick. Those were my best years in trucking. And I'd like to address something else briefly that someone said to me the other day, and that truck drivers are classed as low level workers or something like that. I don't consider truck drivers to be that way at all. And I think that anyone can bring a truck down the side of a mountain in the snow and stuff like that. That's a skill set. That's a high skill set. So I don't consider truck drivers to be low level workers. Never have. There's a great deal of skill involved in driving a truck well. And that's the thing, driving it well. Trucker Ken says we need to get rid of brokers. There's something that really has changed in the industry since I started. When I started trucking, there were a few load brokers around connected with the produce industry. Now I can't believe how load brokers have weaseled their way into the trucking industry, and they've hurt the trucking industry. And the trucking industry does not need middlemen like that controlling the freight. And I'd like to see them gone. When drivers are going to learn to keep their distance in bad weather, more massive pileups again this weekend. Yeah, it's just, I can hardly believe the amount of large pileups this winter that I've seen so far. We're into February, and I can't understand for the life of me why they're all so huge. And it's, Fred, you got to be right. I guess everyone's just following too close, but it's just been amazing this year. And it's just, I hate to say it, but it's got to come down to too many unskilled drivers and not leaving space between the guys in front of you and not being aware of road conditions and stuff. And it just goes to show that the caliber of drivers is sliding because all these major pileups we get now. You never had that 10 or 20 years ago, but there's more traffic. I've got to account for that, I guess, too. More trucks on the road, but still, it's out of control. We shouldn't be seeing what we're seeing this winter. It's out of control. It's crazy this year. Don't see it. One of our trucks burned up in that Oklahoma Turnpike pileup. SoCal Sandman. Jeez. And the trucks now, they make them lighter, the noses are dropped, and I'm sure it's a lot easier to get hurt in a truck now than it used to be too. And now I could be wrong about that, but some of them seem so light and flimsy now that I'm sure drivers and the mortality rate of truck drivers has been steadily increasing in the last 5 years. It's getting scary how many truck drivers are actually dying on the job. We're doing a video on that here shortly, and it's an out of control number. It's far higher than it should be, and it worries me. Smart Trucking, what do you consider to be a truck with great fuel mileage and is about 5 years old? Thanks. If I was going to buy a 5-year-old truck that I was looking for fuel mileage, I'd probably go with the Anteater. I'd probably go with the 680, or there were 660s back then too. I'd probably go with the drop nose Kenworths for quality of build and for good fuel mileage. That's what I'd be doing anyway. That's for I Heart Cryptoverse, but that's the route I'd be going. Be careful that you check out the whole truck and have a good look at the motor, but that's what I'd be looking at anyway. Kyle, do you think part of the bad reputation we have as drivers is due in part somewhat to the often sloppiness and drivers present themselves as? Kyle, I don't want to say that you're right, but I think you are. Honestly, partially that has become a problem, and it's embarrassing to walk into truck stops and see guys in sweatpants and sandals and stuff like that now, and that's and haven't had a shower in a month, and that reflects on all of us, because the public looks at a driver like that and turns up their nose, and you don't even want to be classed in with truck drivers like that. Some drivers aren't in this as a profession. Some guys are just in this as a pass the time thing until they can find something else, and it's embarrassing to see guys that aren't clean, don't dress well, stuff like that. Yeah, it hurts us. It hurts our image. I'm sorry to say that, but yes, it does. It is part of how we've gotten the bad reputation. That and having multi-truck pileups in the bad weather on the interstates. Yeah, where did that go? Oh, I lost it here. Grilled Mortal said no CBs, and yeah, I've lost the comment, but yes.
He said was 3 reasons for these pileups. He said no CBs.
Yeah, no CBs. And sorry?
Stupid drivers.
Yeah, stupid drivers and speed limiters. There is something too that they're predicting that the Biden administration will push our speed limiters now to bring those in. I hope that's not the case, but you never know.
King Solo said he saw a guy in boxers picking up his receipts the other day.
Oh, yeah, just guys in a guy in boxers.
Did you see Captain Nice Guy's comment?
Man. A long while back, Schneider said they were actively trying to discourage drivers from the cowboy look. But honestly, I'd rather have see the drivers in leggings and sandals. And I agree with that, Captain Nice Guy. Geez, I saw a video on YouTube today, and it was some guy that hauls stuff around the Bronx in this wild-looking truck. And you should have seen this guy. Tattoos all over his face. It's the kind of guy, and I don't know what kind of a guy he is, but if you'd been a receiver and there was a knock on the door and you opened the door, you'd have screamed. You'd have been so scared looking at this guy. And, he's just there to deliver, but like, holy smokes. And guys, I guess things are different in the Bronx. Maybe that's more common in the Bronx, but man, some people just don't care. Some people just don't care. But I think it hurts them as far as professional status is concerned.
We're talking about CBs here in the chat. Why don't you ask them who of you run CBs?
Yeah, are you guys all still running CBs? I think that's an essential tool even today for avoiding these mass pileups, because you find out what's going on ahead of you before you even get close to the pileup if you're paying attention. So I'm wondering if everybody out there still runs CBs. I believe they're an essential tool. I'd never be without one anyway. Panama Jack, what happened at Walmart DC? A driver smelled so bad they had to Lysol the area he was standing in just to get rid of the odor. Oh, gross. Yeah, it's an embarrassing deal.
Okay, I got a couple there with CBs if you're watching your chat.
Yeah. I don't think I get the chat as quickly as you do.
Well, you do, but you don't move it up. I'm running. See, Lily Bean, Edward.
Oh, yeah, Lily Bean running a CB. Good to hear. Sam I Am is running a CB. Too much trash talk on the CBJ Rider. Yeah, Jay, I hear you there. I find if you're getting close to big cities, you get a lot of trash talk. But, other than that, like if you're out on the interstate, I don't think it's too bad. I have a Cobra 29. It's on from when I go on duty until I go off. Omniscient Dan? But yes, that's how I was too. Oh, Nick's got a Striker 497. There's a big radio. I had a 2510 back in the day. We all ran 2510s, and they were good for miles and miles. You go down to your own channel and chat back and forth. Lettuce King and I could talk for 40, 50, 100 miles.
Fred Besmer, read that one. One pile up in Oklahoma Sunday.
Oh, one pile up in Oklahoma Sunday. Tried to warn other trucks over the CB. Nothing but crickets. Fred Besmer said that. Yeah, it's interesting, Fred, how many guys don't run a CB anymore. And I'm not, I don't understand that either. Maybe they're on their phones or listening to music on their headphones or something like that. But I think it's a safety thing. I think it's a real issue when you're not tuned in to what you're doing and where you're going. But that's been part of the problem with truck drivers in the past 10 years is they're not focused on the drive. They're focused on playing with their phones and listening. And it's okay to listen to music. I did that all the time. But you see a lot of guys with earbuds in now. And that used to be illegal. But it must not be anymore because you see all sorts of guys using them. Where is the Lettuce King today anyway? Captain Nice Guy. He's Kathy was just talking to him earlier, and I gotta give him a phone call, but I had a phone accident.
Where is it?
I had a phone accident, and as many of you may know, I still had a flip phone. Well, I left my flip phone in my pocket and threw my shirt into the washing machine.
The death of the flip phone.
And it turns out that phones and washing machines don't go well
It's
together.
over.
And it's killed my flip phone. So now with this pandemic thing going on, you could walk into Radio Shack, or now it's the Source, and be out of there in a half hour with a phone.
Wow.
Not so easy anymore, but I'm working on it. I might actually get a smartphone this time around. I'm checking them out anyway. God knows if I'll be able to work it or not.
What a nightmare that will be for us all. Akis, thank you very much for the $5 donation, my friend. Hope you're enjoying the stream thus far. Please talk about lane changes in a 60-foot long vehicle. Even in a 4-door passenger car, it's not always easy.
No, lane changes are a tough and dangerous move. And because the moment you leave your lane and cross that line, even to get into the other lane, you've jeopardized your position legally. You're no longer dead set in your lane and have the right of way. You're in kind of a no-man land or a no-go zone between lanes, and if something happens when you're between lanes, you can get charged, whether it's really been your fault or not. So you've got to be very careful on lane changes. And lane changes, you've really got to look all around and do it like 2 or 3 times. The mirrors don't cover everything. Four-wheelers can hide in the blind spots. Changing lanes can be tricky. And even cars have blind spots on their mirrors and stuff. And I generally use the mirrors even in the car. But you should always be cranking your head around and your neck around and just looking, just having a good look visually. Don't rely solely on the mirrors. But yeah, changing lanes can be a deal some days, especially in heavy traffic. Shannon's saying instead of getting video, try to start flagging guys down before they get into these wrecks. Like run back, park yourself safely on the side of the road, run back and start flagging the traffic down. And yeah, you see a lot of guys filming stuff for YouTube, and they could be warning the other trucks and stuff and the other cars. Yeah, good point. Good point, Shannon. That's right.
Bradley, welcome back to the stream, my friend. Thank you so much for the $50 donation bomb, my friend. Oh, what has that been, like 4 streams in a row now where you've dropped bombs like this? My goodness, my friend, you must be really enjoying these streams. So we're glad you're liking them. Thank you so much, Bradley. And while I'm on the mic here, I heart Cryptoverse with the $5 donation. He says, R.I.P. to the flip phone. R.I.P. indeed. Hopefully that thing never sees the light of day again. Although I don't know how I feel about a flip phone or a smartphone being in the hands of someone like Dave. So we'll have to see how that art turns out.
Thank you, guys, for the donations. And my son's just horrified with my technological skills when it comes to phones and stuff like that. And
everyone in the immediate area of Dave should be horrified by Dave's technological skills. He is a hazard to those around him with those.
I only ever had a phone when I needed to make a phone call. But now there's so much stuff you can do on these phones, and I don't understand how to work any of it. But
Electricity.
Well, that's no surprise to us.
I was better with 2 cans and a string, but that doesn't have the reach.
Kept his lunch in it.
But I might try the smartphone here.
There were bubbles in it too.
Yeah. Then I could text the Lettuce King. The Lettuce King has a smartphone, so. Just got my order to bobtail back to Phoenix. Roger Penske. Hey Roger, were you on when I thanked you for sending that video of the Triple T? I appreciate it. Brought back good memories for me. So that was quite the place in its day. I noticed in your video it was a little quiet when you were in there, but that's how it was the last time I was there. Bradley says, I have a CB, but I rarely turned it on because of the language. Isn't that a shame? Isn't that a shame? But yeah, I know. I hear you on that too. But maybe if you just turn it on in bad weather, even, just to help you out so you don't get stuck in a situation like one of these multi-truck pileups. Yeah, too many morons talking about stupid things on the CBs anymore. That's from Joe Plummer. Yeah, it's been a problem. Any advice for a new dispatcher? I'm in the process of training managing USA Canada loads. Mr. Solo. Yes, Mr. Solo, just be honest with your drivers. Just don't sugarcoat it. Tell them the way it is. Just level with them. Appreciate the kind of hell they're going through doing their job, because they have a tough job. Truck drivers have a much tougher job. You go home at 5, they're still out there all night cruising through bad neighborhoods looking for addresses and stuff. So just remember what they're going through and don't lie to them. Just be honest with them. Level with them all the time. You'll be fine. Appreciate the question. I do.
Captain Nice Guy, any phone that is smarter than you is a questionable purchase. Well, you see, Captain, Dave doesn't set the bar very high as is, so.
What?
See, my point exactly. He doesn't follow things very well. Akis with the $5 donation. Thank you very much. Please be more specific about not sideswiping the car with your trailer tail. If you could expand upon that question that I asked earlier about changing lanes.
Okay. If you want me to expand on that, something else you should be doing when you're changing lanes. Sorry?
Be more specific, to be exact. But,
yes, I'll try to be more specific. Is to ease over. Move slowly and gradually over as you change lanes. Don't make a snap lane change, because that confuses everybody. So just kind of ease it on over. And guys will get the message that are coming up behind you that you're moving over. And yeah, you'll get some guys that'll try to bully you out of the lane, but if you just take a slow, gradual easing over to change lanes, be signaling well in advance of the lane change. Always use your signals, but just kind of ease over.
Patrick Jerry coming in with the $5 as well. Thank you very much for that, my friend. Hey, Dave, what do you think of the Kenworth's new T680 Next Gen?
I like it. I was just looking at pictures of it earlier this week. I think it's sharp. I like the grill treatment on it, but they've been nice inside for years. Never been that struck on them outside, but I think they're getting sharper. They're getting slipperier looking. I really like the new 680 the way it looks.
Justin Watson coming in with the $2 donation. What do you think about non-CDL hotshotting?
I'm against that. I understand that there's a point where the vehicle is so small that you may not require a CDL. However, there's still even a skill set involved in a pickup truck pulling a trailer, especially on an icy road, for instance. I think the DOT needs to have a serious look at hotshot trucking and that type of thing, because there are all sorts of guys out there trying it now. You can do it under a certain weight limit without a CDL apparently, but they know nothing about axle weights, about load securement. I think it's becoming an industry that needs some attention on the part of the DOT.
Akis with another 5. Again, thank you for all your donations this afternoon. Do you like cab overs, and are you upset that they had to wreck 5 of them filming The Terminator? Well, I can tell you, Akis, that I'm pretty sure he's never seen a Terminator movie in his life, which should be a crime in itself, but I'll let him answer the rest of it at least.
I know. I've never seen a Terminator
Didn't even
movie.
have to ask him. I already know.
No. Have you?
Before.
Why? Of course I have.
Really? And to answer the other part of the question, I really like cab overs. A lot of guys didn't like them because of the ride and stuff, but I liked them. The only thing I didn't like about them was that I drove a cab over Freightliner for a while, and that bloody thing was cold in the winter. That was the only beef I had with that. But it was a Freightliner. It had no insulation on the front wall. That damn thing was cold. I had to drive it in my snowmobile suit. But for maneuverability and room in the bunk and stuff, I really liked the cab overs. I did. But, it was what I was used to at the time. I started out in cab overs. So, no, I liked them, especially the big fancy Kenworth flat tops and high bunks and stuff. I liked them.
Akis with another 5. Well, I've already pre-read your question, and I know I wouldn't be the person to answer that, nor would Dave.
I don't think we're going
And
to
if he
pose
could,
that question.
Then I'll pass it over to the captain here. Mom?
Yes, I'm not sure that we're going to read that question, but it's up to you.
I don't even see the question, so I don't know.
Can you rate the best 5 truck stops in the country for the best prostitutes? So I just
No, I have no idea where to even go with that. So not touching that with the 10-foot pole. I hated that, by the way.
Not appropriate.
Red Geronimo likes the Ranger 2950 CB radio he's talking. I never had one of those ever, any of the Rangers, but they had a really good reputation, like the Strikers too. Both of them had excellent reputations. As I say, I had the 2510. You can't get those anymore. But yeah, the Rangers and the Strikers, those are serious radios, big radios. I work for Crete. 54 cents per mile. Travis says, decent place. I've heard a lot of good things about Crete. I've recommended Crete to guys. I can't say I've ever heard anything bad about them. I like Crete as a carrier. It's a well-run operation. Nothing bad to say about them at all. Good outfit. What's the peat doing nowadays? I gotta go out and shovel off the peat. It's buried. I should take a camera out there and show you. I've shoveled it off twice or 3 times already this winter, and it's just buried again. And I should take a camera out and get some film so I can show you guys what my poor Peterbilt goes through in the winter. It just sits there parked. I take the batteries out of it, cover up the stacks, and just wait for spring. The poor old girl just gets buried in snow. It's up to the bottom of the grill in snow right now. Last time I saw it, so. Poor old thing. Any private fleets you'd put your stamp of approval on, Ed? Walmart. I like Walmart's private fleet. I like Tyson Foods has a private fleet. Up here, Home Hardware has a private fleet. Those are three just off the top of my head, and all three of them are good places to work. But I liked running for a private fleet. I did that for a little while, and the money was really good. The benefits were really good. And they weren't focused on trucking. They were focused on getting their product delivered, and that was more important. I liked the attitude that went along with that.
Captain Nice Guy with the 20. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for your support on the stream. The first two Terminator movies are good, especially Terminator 2, and are just plain fun to watch. I agree with that personally, by the way. Beyond that, they get a little iffy. Again, agree with that. Good action movies.
Well, I'm going to have to take the time and sit down and watch these Terminator movies.
When are you going to get time to do that?
Yeah, you're
Tell
a
me.
busy guy.
I am a busy
You gotta
guy,
go
but
get a new phone,
I know I'll be a week getting this darn phone,
learn
but
how to use it.
yeah, that'll be a year-long learning curve. But I'm gonna try to wait a second. Is the Terminator, is that Arnold Schwarzenegger? Oh my God!
Yeah, it is.
There's why I never watched the Terminator movies, because Arnold's in them. I remember now.
You like the Expendable movies. Why do you not like the Terminator movies?
I like the Expendable movies because Sylvester Stallone's in them.
Yeah, so you can stomach him, but not Arnold Schwarzenegger?
And there's a few other guys in the Expendables I like, too. But
I'm just
I was
saying it's
never an
hypocritical.
Arnold fan.
Hypocritical.
I know.
Omniscient Dan with the $5. Thank you very much, my friend. Are you familiar with Tyson's requirements for eligibility?
I am not, Dan. I'm not familiar with what they require of a driver. But certainly be worth the phone call because they are a good fleet, a good private fleet. They're not going anywhere. There's job security there. So give them a call and check it out. And let me know. Let me know because I'd like to know. Hence the term governator. SoCal Sandman. Governator. I don't know. I get laughing every time I think about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Akis with another 5. Is there such a thing as a 3 million mile club? Are there more million mile clubs?
Thanks for the donation, Akis. As far as I know, there are no clubs for drivers that hit those milestones. Caterpillar and Shell have million-mile clubs for their customers, and I'm aware of those, but I am not aware of any clubs for drivers in that sense of the word.
What club are you in?
Well, I'm in the 4 million plus club somewhere.
He's in the advanced age club.
I quit counting after 4 million, but
I don't even know what that is.
What are you talking? They're making fun of me behind my back. Okay. Hi from Ireland, Ned Kelly. Man, I was to Ireland once, very briefly. Really liked it. I was in Dublin. Dublin was where I was. Didn't get to stay very long, but.
All right, I'm going to take my best crack at this name here, but I believe it's pronounced Bajar Nelson. The last name's going to escape me here, but you know who you are. Thank you very much for the donation. I believe it's Norwegian donation, so I'm gonna have to get my calculator out for that one after the fact. Driver in training here in Norway. We don't have. Oh yeah, Norwegian. Yeah. Don't have much space in the cab for anything more than just a bed at night against the seats. Any suggestions on eating healthy without much space for a stove or a microwave? Well, when it comes to health, I don't think Dave would be the person to ask, so I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Kathy here and see if she has any recommendations.
I missed
on
the question, sorry.
any
I was ordering
suggestions-
pizza.
Maybe not the best note to start off on there, but any suggestions on eating healthy without much space for a stove or a microwave?
Asking for suggestions?
Yes.
Probably one of the best things is to bring your food from home. Package it up in Ziplocs. I think the Walmarts are really well stocked with good, healthy sections now, too. We did a video on that. I did one way back when, and I'm getting ready to do more of those types of videos too. But yeah, it's a challenge on the road, that's for sure.
I don't know if they have Walmarts in Norway or not.
I don't know.
But yeah.
They should have.
Yep. I used to like to carry fruit and cheese in the truck because it would be easy to snack on as you drove. Just a suggestion there. Cold sliced meats.
Thank you for the donation, by the way. Akis with a $5 donation as well. Thank you very much for that. How can you not like Arnold Schwarzenegger? Are you even a human being? Sometimes I wonder that too. What is your problem with him? I also kind of want to know the answer to that. So.
Yeah, we want to know.
What I don't like about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Just give us one reason.
He's jealous because he doesn't have big muscles like Arnold.
Well, Dave's got a big muscle. Unfortunately, it's his forehead. So.
You know,
we're just making fun here.
On the positive side, he's got to be a very driven person to go as far as he has and done as well as he has. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just found
it's the accent, isn't it? You just don't.
No, it's not the accent. No, it's nothing like that.
He can't understand him.
But
you can understand Sylvester Stallone, the man who speaks with a lisp.
Yeah, Adrian.
I don't know if we'll ever get an answer to that question. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second here. I got to read this. Kissed by the Sun with a $10 donation. What do you think about the signing bonus with trucking companies? Signing up bonus, rather.
I think you've really got to be careful with these sign-on bonuses because a sign-on bonus is you sign up, you get the money. But when you break it down with the trucking companies, that's never the way it is. You never get the money up front like a true sign-on bonus.
Never say never. I've actually had 2 emails this week from 2 different drivers who signed up. Only thing I can't remember which company it was, and they said within the first 30 days they got, I think it was a $1,500 bonus. Now everyone's going to want to know what company it was, but I can investigate that.
Well,
but they actually got paid. They actually did.
That's good to hear because so many of these sign-on bonuses are just fake lures and they don't follow through with them, or they tie it to your safety program or your fuel mileage program or something like that, so you don't get the sign-on bonus unless you get 12 miles to the gallon. I'm leery of most of them. Not to say that there aren't some honest ones out there, but you got to investigate.
A couple things I want to acknowledge here. Where were we? GP Transco in the house. Good afternoon at GP Transco. Good to see you in the chat this afternoon.
Hey, GP.
Where was the comment about Arnold? I wanted to acknowledge that. That was funny. I heard Cryptoverse. Arnold sounds like he's talking with a big bunch of hot mush in his mouth. Couldn't agree more.
Maybe that's what it is.
Couldn't agree more. But again, so does Sylvester Stallone, so I don't understand the problem
it's
there.
Not the accent.
I mean, hey, an accent's an accent.
It's not the accent, it's the hot mush thing he's got going on.
What was the other one here? Dave, what did you get Kathy for Valentine's Day? Again, I too want to know the answer to that question. He's hesitating. That's not good, fellas.
I got her a card, and that's all I got her. But
don't get to justify it.
I like
You're just trying to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, I just got her a card.
Now you want to know what my boyfriend got me.
Ask me what Kathy got me for Valentine's.
It'll be on the next live stream.
Yeah.
Black magic. Chocolates.
Yeah, she did. Chocolates. Love chocolates.
Flutenpecker wants to know thoughts on the death of the glider production in this last year.
I think it's sad. I can understand that, why the EPA has killed them, but I think it's a sad state of affairs when a guy can't save his old motor and buy a new truck and put the engine, his reliable engine, into a brand new frame, a rolling chassis or something like that. I think it's a serious shame. And, if I was really concerned about the EPA and the quality of air as far as running my business is concerned, I wouldn't go truck to California. But I don't know why every other state in the nation now can't buy glider kits, just because California and now New Jersey, oddly enough, of course, there's a big pollution center. But no, I think it's a loss to our industry. I think it'll hurt our industry. I think it will drive guys out of our industry because so many guys are having trouble with these new engines. And if your truck's not reliable, it's most of the time it's not any good, depending on what you haul.
There's a good question. Henry.
Graham Henry III wants to know, explain navigating high winds. My route goes through Fancy Gap.
Huh. Of course, it depends on whether you're pulling a box trailer with high sides or not. If, it's not much of an issue with a tanker, for instance. But depending on how much weight you've got on, and if you're in a box trailer or something like that, depending on where the wind's coming from, if it's hitting you in the face, that's okay. If it's hitting you in the back end, it's okay. But if you're in a serious crosswind with a box trailer and you're light, like a load of diapers or something, you're better just to find a safe place to park and ride it out. And not the Fancy Gap's so bad, but like you get out into Wyoming and get crosswinds out there, that can put you right over on your side. You've got to be careful.
LB wants to point out, Dave, you live in Canada. Now, I don't think that's a geography lesson. I think he knows that. I think he was more or less poking at the fact that you also have an accent. I guess all three of us do. So.
There you go.
So maybe to some other people, we sound like our old Schwarzenegger. So maybe you should be a little bit more forgiving.
It's funny, depending on where I've been in the States. Some people don't think Canadians have an accent.
How do you say about, Dave? Well,
I get that all the time. I say about. And
yeah, that's not right. Apparently, we have to say it with more W to it. There's more bout.
But there's a guy on YouTube I watch. He's from New York State, and he says a boot, and I think, wow. But I don't say a boot. I say about.
They
the
say
only reason
you
you notice
ABOUT, about. But apparently there's an accent there involved somewhere. I don't hear it, but
You have to record yourself and then listen.
yeah. Like people in California never told me I had an accent. But if you got down into Georgia, they told me I had an accent.
Daniel Meredith Jr. with the $10 donation. Good to see you in the chat this afternoon, Daniel. How do NASCAR truck hauls follow DOT regulations? Do they have to stop for a 10-hour reset, or do they just keep driving because they don't do teams and are expected to be in California or other tracks in a few days?
Daniel, good question. Thanks for the donation. Actually, some of them do teams because, as you know, there is a rigorous schedule sometimes for having those cars to certain tracks, and they've been with the ELD mandate. They've been forced into running teams, and they do teams now. And certainly, race teams have the money to pay the teams, but yeah, it's a good question, and yeah, they've been forced into running teams for these hard schedules now with the ELD. The only guys I know that aren't running ELDs now are the bull rack guys, and apparently they just don't know what to do with those guys and how to handle that. So everyone else has got an ELD, I think, but not the bull rack guys.
Akis with another $5. Thank you very much for that. Have you ever been asked to bobtail from New York to Los Angeles to get the load back to New York? If not, is that unheard of?
I've never been asked to do that. That's pretty unusual. That's pretty unusual. And as long as they're paying you like you've got a trailer on the back for all those miles, hell, it's like a gift. It sounds like a great load. I can't believe that's really unusual. That's really unusual. Make sure they're paying you properly for that deal, because that's a long way. I'm trying to think of the farthest I ever bobtailed and got paid for it, but it wasn't that far.
AJ doesn't believe the Canadian accent exists. I would certainly like to believe that's the case, but I think the general consensus is that all provinces and states kind of have their own little accent, so whether it's more noticeable than other ones or not.
Like when I hear people from New Jersey and New York talk, I can pick them out right away because of their accent.
I'm sure they think the same about you.
And maybe they can.
You say, who's that hoser?
Ontario has its own accent. Michael's from Montreal. Well, certainly French Canadians in Montreal have an accent. Yeah, AJ Deere doesn't think we have an accent. Thank you.
Yes, the comment that I just read. I see you too found that.
Yes, I did.
Do Dilly. I did some research on Canadian brokers out of 450 and 206 carriers with freight broker departments. Dan Goodwill wrote an article in today's trucking suggestion carriers should be open their own. What are your thoughts on this? That question's for you, Dave.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here.
Well,
Carriers generally have always had a load broker division, only it wasn't like a load broker division. It was kind of an overflow freight division. And I never had a problem with that because you were just dealing with another carrier. So they would give their overflow freight and broker it out. And that wasn't the same thing at all as a load broker. A load broker has nothing invested in the industry other than a telephone. And that's the big difference to me. He's just a middleman that jumps in there. He's not like a carrier that has the freight already, has the contracts, and just he's so busy he can't keep up with it all. So he brokers out the load to another truck. Load brokers are just in the middle, taking 10, 20, 30%, whatever the market will bear. And sometimes like they were doing in the Port of Houston, literally putting guys out of business down there.
Brandon Rodriguez, I'm currently studying to get my Class A. I'm worried about permit tests. I was never good at tests. Any tip for those?
Generally they're like multiple choice tests. Just relax, take your time, think all the questions through. There's generally a logical answer for everyone that isn't rocket science. Just take your time.
I've got a quick question for you. So
Yep.
Cal Sandman wants you to say what the opposite of in is. Say it.
Out.
Yeah, there it is. Right
Out.
there.
Is there an accent?
Yeah.
Is there an accent in that? Out.
Have you ever seen ET Transport? They're not offering lease operators 1.65 a mile. They take care of insurance and plates. Drivers take full care of fuel and mechanical issues. What do you think of that?
Where are they out of? I think I know who you're talking about. Where are they out of? But that sounds like an all right deal, frankly. That sounds okay. Livestock haulers haven't even had to keep a logbook since March of 2020. Just got extended again. Safety has increased since we have been able to run how we want to. That's from Cody Davis. But yeah, I always, for years and years, we just all ran until we got tired, and then we slept until we felt rested again and went. And it worked for all of us for years and years and years. So, if you get the right drivers that aren't knotheads about it, you can run fine without a logbook and without the hours of service. And there was even a submission put in by CR England years ago now that they thought all drivers with 15 years experience and no accidents should be exempt from the hours of service. And I agreed with that. And I thought that was kind of smart coming out of CR England, but experienced drivers know when to stop, know when to go, know when to park, know when to fold them, and they should just be left alone. And a lot of these guys that run the bull racks have been driving for years and years and years, and they don't lose their heads. You rarely see a bull rack in the weeds wrecked, and that says something about those guys.
What does the umpire say when somebody slides into home but the ball comes into home?
Safe.
No, ball comes
God.
first.
Out.
Before he slides in. Say it.
Out.
There you go.
Yeah. OOT.
They're making fun of you.
They are making, man.
On a less controversial topic, Mike Jones, any tips on how to best handle team driving trucking? Team truck driving, rather. Said that a little bit out of order.
I think the best teams on the road are husband and wife teams. I would advise anyone that's running team not to run hard to the hours of service, to take regular breaks and stops, and not push one guy all night, one guy all day. Break it up, have some variety in it, and live a fairly normal life, not run like a machine. That's what I would suggest for teams. GP Transco says, we have a brokerage as well. A lot of time we get requests for flatbed or refrigerated freight, which our asset side does not transport, but have a brokerage in-house that helps. There's a perfect example. But remember again, GP Transco is a carrier. He's servicing, or they're servicing their customers. They're not just a middleman that's popped out of the field and decided to shave 10 or 20% off the rate. A carrier brokering freight is a completely different deal than a freight broker. And have you seen some of these office towers that some of these big load brokers now are in, like C.H. Robinson and Total Quality Logistics? Multi-million-dollar beautiful buildings, and all of that money has come off the top of truck drivers, and that I have a problem with that. Sorry for my rant on load brokers. Like I say, there were hardly any of them when I started, and there is a slew of them now.
Did you read GP's comment on husband and wife teams?
No.
Yeah, you gotta pull your screen up. Husband and wife teams are some of their best teams by 100%.
That's
Say that.
Husband and wife teams are the best by 100%. I'm looking for the comment. That's from GP Transco. But yeah, husband and wife teams tend to lead normal lives when they're running together. They're not running like raped apes, and I think that's the way to go. You can take advantage of the hours of service, use it to the best of its ability without living like an animal. And husband and wife teams are generally smart enough to know that, and they want to have time together and eat together and stuff like that. So yeah, I think those are the safest teams on the road, are the husband and wife teams.
B-Town fam, my uncle and I are thinking about getting trucks. Should we start off with getting a new one together or a used one together, or should we get two used ones at the same time?
I would get a new one together. I like new equipment because it's got a warranty. And especially these days, if you get like a used truck, it's still got that emissions equipment on it. So that can break you if you get the wrong truck with that emissions equipment. I would get a new one with some warranty on it and keep on those guys until they get it right, so the thing's not breaking down. I would go new. Are manual trucks a good buy now, James? I would still buy the manual. I still would. I've known guys that have bought automatics that have had trouble with them, and they're hugely expensive to fix. And the manual transmissions really don't break down at all unless you abuse the crap out of them. And usually even then it's only the clutch that takes the beating. So no, I would get the manual transmission trucks. They're just a tougher unit.
Robert coming in with a $10 donation. Thank you very much for that, my friend. Hello, Dave. I am currently 17 and planning on getting my CDL as soon as I turn 18. Any insights for local jobs until I turn 21? Also, does local experience count towards the one-year carriers such as GP Transco?
Generally, just most carriers count just about any seat time you get as experience, and I would try to get something like local delivery work, like food delivery or something like that, like Cisco or something like that. I would try to get something like that, and you'll get all sorts of practice backing up if you do local stuff, and that's never going to hurt. Getting practice at that. So, or dump trucks. Dump truck is good work if you get paid by the hour for running a dump truck, not by the load, but by the hour. Dump truck work can be good work, and I've done that in the past. quite enjoyed it. So that can be good local work and good practice and good experience as well. But even shunt work in trailer yards, anything like that, anything where you hone your skills, like why not do it? And then you're home every night as well. You may decide you like it and not decide to go on the road, but good for you for getting your license. Good for you.
He hasn't done it yet.
No, I know, but he's getting it.
Yeah.
Margin says he enjoys the automatic transmission only because my shoulder and knee have issues I have. Yes, and certainly the automatics, I think, are a lot easier to drive for some people if they have issues like that. Like so, poor old SoCal Sandman. I don't know if he's got an automatic or not, but with this shoulder surgery, I'll be curious to know how you make out with that after the surgery. But certainly after an injury like that, an automatic might be best or nicer to have anyway. Yeah. Fred Besmer says he and his wife Bev have been running like that for 16 years now, husband and wife team. Boy, that's pretty good. That's pretty admirable. Ten speeds are great to learn on, Josh, Peterbilt 389. Not only are they really good to learn on, Josh, those 10 speeds are bulletproof transmissions. You can't hurt those things. They might not have all the gears that you like, and there might be a big jump between 9 and 10, for instance, but they are a bulletproof transmission.
Josh Peterbilt says automatics are cheating.
They are kind of cheating, but I can see the advantages. When you're learning to drive, you've got an awful lot to concentrate on as it is without having to worry about what gear you're in. So I can see for a new driver that they would probably be a bonus. Man, when we were learning to drive, a lot of times we had two different sticks to worry about and babysit for gears. And that could be a real challenge, just remembering what gear you were in by looking at both sticks,
Did you see Controlled Chaos's comment?
No, I didn't.
Grab that one.
I'm done with the owner-operator tour. I've thrown in the towel today, going back to company driver. Controlled Chaos. I remember reading from you that you were having issues with your truck, and my heart goes out to you, and that can be really expensive. I don't think these days, I think good quality drivers with experience are in serious demand. I think there's good money there now with the right carrier, and my guess, Controlled Chaos, looking at the market these days, I think you might be doing the smart move here. That's I've done that myself. I've got mine against the fence, so I don't think you'll be sorry. Making the smart move it doesn't hurt when you're making the smart move. So that's the best I know how to say it.
All right, Chad, it's about that time of the afternoon now. We'll start wrapping things up. We'll do a couple more minutes of questions here for Dave, and we'll sign off from there.
SoCal Salmon says he's only off for 22 days, and he's got like 5 to 6 weeks before he heals up. That's going to be a long 5 or 6 weeks. I hope you're not crawling on the walls. I bet you you'll be looking forward to getting back into it when you finally can. I'm sure you'll be missing it. Shannon says those 5 and 4s were so much fun. Shannon, I had one that damn near, like, if you missed a shift, it would damn near snap your wrist. Like, there was so much kickback and bite from the darn thing, and You learned how to shift because it hurt when you screwed one up. But
Jonathan has a comment or a question.
what are some tips for four-wheelers on the road to best keep trucks safe? Good question. Jonathan, four-wheelers need to stay far away from trucks as they possibly can. They can't, if you haven't driven a truck, a four-wheeler has a hard time appreciating just how much room these things need to stop, how unmaneuverable they are, how they can go sideways if they're braking hard and they're not straight, like when the thing's on a curve or something like that and you have to hammer the brakes, the trailer wants to walk out to the side. Four-wheelers are well advised to stay away from trucks. Even when a semi blows a tire, if you're up beside them, it can be enough to knock the four-wheeler right off the road. It's dangerous for four-wheelers. It's dangerous for a 3,000-pound vehicle to be anywhere near an 80,000-pound vehicle. If you're going to pass them, get out, get by, get back in, and if you're following them, leave a big hole between you and him. And once you get in front of them, get away from them as well. You don't want to be close to them. They're dangerous things. They really are. Fred says he'll catch you guys next week. Need to put on the copper tan so I don't burn. Thanks, Fred. It's minus 20 out here. I think I'll go out and shovel some snow. Philip Trucker. Left over the road and drive for an equipment manufacturer now and get paid holidays and hourly. And so there's a private fleet right there, or a private truck. And yeah, Philip, excellent job. That's the kind of stuff a lot of guys are looking at these days, because there is good money and good benefits in driving for private fleets like that.
All right, we'll pull two more questions here. Tips for negotiating freight price from Samuel.
What I would do is I had a program called the PC Miler, and it would track exactly how many miles from my destination to point of loading or whatever, and then I would know exactly what it costs to operate my truck and trailer, what my insurance and plates and all the costs involved, and then it'll give you a fixed idea on what you need to break even, and then up at whatever you feel your profit margin should be. And I when you own your own equipment back then, we used to figure that 20% was a pretty good profit margin. So, but these days, if you get these big companies now want you to bid on freight, and they'll take the cheapest bid. I wouldn't even get involved in a little war like that. I would just step back and say, because they're just looking for the cheapest truck, and you don't want to be the cheapest truck. So stay away from freight like that, and that's part of why I don't like load brokers. They're looking for the cheapest truck as well, and that's not trucking. That's just slowly dying and going under, and you don't want to do that.
All right, and from Cardinal Bob, I'm 60 years old and used to drive a straight truck. Can I still get into trucking?
Sure you can. Absolutely. In fact, I encourage you to. The years go by quickly, and the money's still good.
And our last question for the evening will be, can we get an update on the American Trucking Simulator from you, Dave?
Well, we have issues. I am dying. I'm like a kid that's missed Christmas here. I know the thing is here.
I don't think that translates to dying, but...
Oh, I'm just dying to play with the thing.
Oh, you said dying.
We're dying.
So.
Well, to play with the thing, and we haven't got it hooked up. We're in the
sentence.
middle of moving our little stream setup here. Our large stream setup. Large car stream setup. And we're unsure whether the tower, is that the correct word?
Just stick to your own vocabulary.
Has enough power to power it and the live stream as well. So we're unsure of those things.
Well, that didn't make a lick of sense, but yep, there's your update on that.
Yep.
And they're giving me a smartphone.
Yeah, chat. We just have to rearrange a few things to do with our computer, get it set up, and we're planning to get the VR set up with it as well, and that's going to take a few extra steps as well. So look forward to having not only the gameplay of that, but a full VR experience with Dave, and what a nightmare that will be getting him to navigate that. Did you want to say something there?
Just go ahead and add that, and this is the same guy that they let drive a tractor trailer.
Your mic's on, so.
And they let him drive a tractor trailer, but he can't operate a phone or American Truck Simulator.
Yeah,
I don't
SoCal
know.
says phone, flip phone simulator. That would be a
Yeah,
good one
that's right, SoCal.
So, all right, chat. That'll do it for us today. A little bit of bullying Dave here live. I want to thank you, everyone who donated today. Akis, I Heart Cryptoverse, Bradley Weber, Justin, Captain Nice Guy, Unnecessary Dan, Bujnar, Kissed by the Sun, Daniel Meredith Jr., and Robert. Thank you to everyone who donated today, and thank you to you, the viewer, for coming out and commenting, questioning, and a little bit of fun with roasting Dave. So without further ado, if we can wrap it up for this evening, Dave, if you want to tell us a little bit about what this Friday's video is going to be.
This Friday's video is going to be 5 different sticky situations you may find yourself in when trucking and how to get out of them. So that should be a good video. I get to play with my toy trucks for that. Always like that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I appreciate you all dropping in. I don't mind the ribbing on my lack of electronic abilities here. It's just something I just never got a hold of. Lettuce King, if you're listening, I had phone issues. I'll give you a call as soon as I can. I ran my flip phone through the washing machine. So anyway, I'm sure we have a landline I can hook up here. But you guys take care. Be safe out there. The weather's bad. Drive carefully. Huddle down. Stay warm. And we'll see you on the back haul. Good night, everybody.
Cardinal Bob with a $1 donation as well. Thank you very much for that, my friend. Now, good night, everyone.
Thank you, Cardinal Bob. Appreciate it. Good night.